Hi everyone and welcome back to Bushel Park Golf Club. So today you join me on the closing holes. So I'm playing 17th and 18th here. So great holes on this golf course. The 17th is a little bit unique. The 18th is a great par 5 closing hole, but they can wreck a scorecard. So it's really important to take some processes in place, everything we've done through this series, and put them into action on these two holes. So starting with a tee shot on 17. So 17 itself, the whole yardage for the hole from where I'm standing is 303 yards. So again, not massively long for a par 4, but the tee shot is a hugely important aspect to that. We've got a narrow shoot that we're hitting through with trees in the middle of that shoot, a target down the left, target down the right hand side. So picking a club is really important. I would generally say to people that you want to be really hitting a shot that's going to go about 170 to 180 yards on this hole. This time of year, 170, 180 is absolutely perfect. In the summer, we're looking more like 160, 170 because it's going to kick down as it goes onto the fairway. But more than anything, you have to commit to your shot. There's no point in standing here and half-heartedly hitting a swing, because when you swing without any target or guidance, you're always going to get yourself into trouble. So we want to have a clear target line, clear process that we're following. So I'm pegging myself up on this left-hand side of the hole, and I'm going to pick a target line which I'm comfortable with hitting the club I've got. So I've got 6-iron in my hands today. Got my target line, and it's a good committed swing. I can't half-heartedly go through this ball. So I've played a club that's going to get me about the 170, 180 mark with the wind. So for that one I've hit a 7-iron. Sorry, apologies, I normally hit a 7-iron. For that one I've hit a 6-iron just because of the wind. It's going to leave me around the 100, 110 yard mark into this hole, which for me is a much safer shot when we're going over a pond for our next. Now, if you do prefer a slightly shorter shot, obviously we want to be getting a little bit more close to that 180, 190 mark this time of year, but in summer we need to be cautious because it will run out quite a lot as it gets towards the pond. Bailout shot is down the right hand side of this fairway. Leaves the long shot in, but it's the safest shot if you're worried about running off down into towards the water. So I finished in the fairway. I got 106 yards to the centre of this green and 120 to the back. The pin's towards the back edge, so we're going to have about 115, 118 yards to this flag. Now it is downhill, so he's going to play a little bit shorter of that. I'm going to be playing at about 115. We are into wind, and it's a cold wind, so it's going to make this ball come up a little bit shorter as well. So I really want to be focused on getting this ball all the way back there. So the shot I'm going to play this as 120. I'm going to play it as 120. Ball's on slight downslope, it's going to help this come out a bit flatter. But rather than hitting a wedge and getting the ball popped up in the air, I'm going to hit a 3/4 9-iron. So I'm actually going to play a pitch shot with my 9-iron. So for me, this shot does come out a bit flatter. Obviously, it's less loft, but shoulder height, swing through. Should just keep this ball below this wind, and it pitches around the 120 mark. So with this cold wind and the weather we've got, so should be plenty of club to get me going through right up towards this flag. So nothing's going to change here. I'm going to do my practice swings before the ball, and all I'm really focusing, because it's downhill, I've got to get my weight onto my left side. I've got to try and match the slope. So as the slope goes down, my shoulders are going to go down. I'm trying to match it so that I can get the same angle attack onto this golf ball. If I stay level and the slope's down, I'm going to hit the ground well before the ball, and I'm not going to get down to the golf ball, potentially catching it thin. Certainly going to catch it on the heavy side. So I'm matching my shoulders to the slope, and then I can continue to hit down onto the golf ball. So I've got 3/4 swing, pick my target line. Again, normal full routine as always. So there's my shoulder tilt, weights on the left side, and my 3/4 swing. Okay, so I've hit my shot into about 10 feet here, but this pin location, although it's a long way back, we can have several pin locations on this hole that make this a real treacherous putt. We can have everything from sort of this right hand corner, we can have just to the right of this slope that I'm standing on, front corners, both left and right, and also on this left hand side here. And the whole green is notoriously sloped, very quick, and if you're going uphill or downhill, can be treacherous. So anytime you're coming along of this flag back down the slope, the speed control needs to be impeccable, especially in this sort of right-hand portion here, the front portion. The slope gets so severe at this sort of angle that the ball's just going to run off. And you know, I've seen a lot of people degreen it. You know, we've had people actually put it back into the water after hitting their ball over the pond as well. So it can be a treacherous putt. So it's always better to hole if you can, but not only lower the hole, but lower the break as well. So anytime the pin's on this left-hand side, we want to be towards the right side. The pin's on the right, it's tight, but we want to be on that right-hand side and short the hole as well. The putt I've got up here is probably one of the flatter putts on this green, and it's going to be left to right, as the whole green is. The whole green is left to right, and he's also back left to front right, so it all slopes that way, with a big ridge that sort of swirls from the front portion right the way across and creates almost this full tier at the back of the green. So really important to spend a bit of time getting used to this green and figuring out what the ball's going to do. So for my putt here, I'm looking to be just outside left edge. I'm not going to take this a lot. Like I say, I'm putting slightly up the hill here, which is going to help with keeping this ball on its line. I'm left edge of the green, left edge of the pin. And once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to follow the full routine. So, same as always. And then let it go. So just stayed on that left edge, didn't really come back too much at all, which is a shame. Good chance for a birdie. Tapping my par, and we'll go to the 18th hole. So we're on to the final hole. 18th, par 5, back up the slope towards the clubhouse. 2 bunkers up on this right-hand corner. Don't really come into play for a lot of people's first tee shot, but certainly the longer guys, you're going to have to contend with those bunkers, and really it can force you to drop back a club like I'm doing now. So depending on the time of year, depending on the wind, depending on the weather, and also depending if we're playing a match or not, depends on what club I'm going to pull here. So if it's downwind, summertime, I might try and go over the 2 bunkers. Those 2 bunkers are sitting out there at 260 yards. So we've got to fly at least 260 uphill. So like a 280 carry. So downwind, so I can certainly get to that point. But this time of year, it's not really going to be something I'm going to take on all the time. If we're playing match play, then yes. If we're playing Captain Pro, essentially, we'll go driver and we'll try and get as far up there as we can and make the second shot as short as possible. But if I'm looking to play this for score, I've got to play the percentage game. Percentages say I should be hitting 3-wood here to get myself short of those bunkers on the right, commit to the swing, and I can commit to my second shot. And it's not going to be a lot longer than the one if I took a driver, but it is going to be slightly longer. So we're aiming to the left edge of the trees at the top of the hill. I've committed to my target line and just need to commit to my swing and let the ball go. So I've hit my 3-wood to my ideal location really, short of the bunkers on the right hand side. The problem is now we're on this slight upslope, and certainly from where I've just fallen into this collar, the ball's not only up, but it's also below my feet. So it's going to want to come out higher. It's going to want to drift to the right, so I have to just account for that when I'm setting myself up. So I've taken a walk up, I've seen where the actual green, the flag is and the green, and there's a single tree on the top left corner of this bunker, and the flag is directly in line with that, so I've got a clear target line. Now because the fact this ball's going to come out higher, and it's going to want to drift from left to right, I'm going to be aiming just left of that flag, or just left of that tree, and just allow for it to come back. So I've got a hide in my hand, it's 240 yards to this green. So the fairway's going to be too risky to try and play off this shot, so just started down the left. It's going to want to cut back because of the slope, and we'll leave yourself a nice easy pitch into this green. Okay, so I've got 48 yards left into this pin. Left myself down the right hand side, short right, so I'm attacking this back right pin placement. It's not the ideal place to come in from. Everything I've got to go in front of me now is carry, and the pin's tucked on this top ridge, so there's 3 tiers to this 18th green. You've got the back right corner, you've got the centre, and then you've got the front portion as well, so tiers up. Ideally I'd want to be coming in from the right hand side, sort of chasing up the green, so from my right hand side, from the left hand side of this green, bloody chase and run it up to the back slope. But from here, I've only really got options ready to try and fly it all the way. So I've got 48 yards. So for me, it's a sand iron, a 58-degree wedge, and I'm going to swing about waist high. Now, there is a ridge at the front of the green, so I can use that to stop this ball. It does potentially give me problems of having to putt back up and over the hill, but landing anything on this top portion, it's just going to release out and it's not really going to stop. And beyond the green, it's quite a tough chip coming back up. So I'm going to come out a little bit flatter with this one, try and use that ridge at the front just to kill the ball a little bit. And if I have to have a putt up the ridge, it's not a problem. I'm quite happy with that. But the ball's going to go slightly back from the front. So back from the front foot. So normally this pitch shot would be inside my left heel. I'm going slightly back in my stance for this one. So just fall to centre. Weights on the front foot. And I'll flight this in there nice and low. Okay, so my ball's coming to rest about 20 feet away from the hole, but 20 foot long. So my ball's pitched about 3 or 4 foot short of the flag, and it's a couple of feet past the ridge I was aiming for, which would have killed it a little bit sooner. But this top portion here is not too bad. It's fairly flat. Everything from sort of halfway back starts to go uphill, and then it flattens off, and then we've got the ridges going back down towards the front of the green. So here I've got this ball aimed at the right edge of the hole. I'm just going to put a nice confident stroke on it. So I'm not going to worry too much about how much break there is in this one, because there's not an awful lot. Gave it a chance, a little bit under on the pace, but tapping for my par. So, as always, thanks for watching. There comes the end of our series of On the Course. So we've gone from holes 1 right way through to 18. So the next series we're going to look at is we'll be doing some sort of short game clinics, and we'll be looking at some technique around pitching, chipping and those sorts of things. And we're also going to be looking at some other videos coming forward for 2022. But for now, happy golfing and thanks for watching.